You're listening to Talk of Champions, an Ole Miss Spirit podcast with Ben Garrett.
It's time! It's time! It's time! It's time! It's time!
Hello again, friends, and welcome inside the RiverLand Roofing Studios, the roof up top. This is Talk of Champions. I'm Ben Garrett, at Spirit Ben on Twitter. I write and talk about your Ole Miss Rebels all day, every day at the Ole Miss Spirit, omspirit.com, affiliate of On 3. Join today with promo code JOIN50. Get 50% off that subscription and come hang out with us as we talk about your Ole Miss Rebels and only your Ole Miss Rebels all day, every day at the Ole Miss Spirit, omspirit.com, affiliate of On 3. And you might be asking yourself at this very moment, Ben, where the heck were you after Ole Miss lost in disastrous fashion? The worst kind of loss. Should have been a 45-16 win, and trust me, I did the math at LSU over the weekend. It changes everything, just like Kentucky did. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't start this on a hold the line note, meaning Ole Miss, yes, has 2 losses. Now, we're about to talk about the 2-loss outlook for Ole Miss football moving forward, and not just on the field or in regards to the college football playoff. What does a 2-loss outlook for Ole Miss look like in the bigger picture in a number of different ways? That's what we're going to get into today on Talk of Champions. But I'd be remiss if I didn't tell you, look, Ole Miss just has 2 losses, and they were both awful. Make absolutely no mistake about it. And both lay completely at the feet of Lane Kiffin. Completely at the feet of Lane Kiffin. Again, a lot to cover today, but Ole Miss with its 2 losses in the bye week. Next Sunday, either Alabama or Tennessee will have a second loss as well, and possibly even Georgia. LSU and A&M play in 2 weeks. One of those will walk away with a second loss. This is a very different year in the SEC. Ole Miss just wasn't supposed to be in this company. And that's why we're all frustrated today. That's why you're frustrated today, and you're wondering, what next? What next for your Ole Miss Rebels? And that is, my friend, a very, very loaded question. And hopefully we'll be able to answer some of that today here on Talk of Champions. I'm bringing up my notes because I was in Disney World this weekend. Long ago, planned a trip. I didn't realize at the time it's for LSU weekend. Even still, I'm glad I went. My dad told me before the season started he was really worried about Ole Miss not being the team everyone hoped they would be. Congrats, Dad, you were right. But he was really worried specifically about that LSU road trip because he's a traditional Ole Miss fan. He's been around since the 60s. That's a traditional rival. That's the Ole Miss rival of rivals, and yet 29-26. Ole Miss still hasn't won in Death Valley since 2008. And before, I saw some comments in the YouTube section, my comment section, below each one of these videos. One said, Ben chickened out after LSU. I was in Disney World long ago, planned trip there. Look at these people I went with. Lovely people. They just love each other and trust that God is in control. And thank God they were there with me this weekend to help me make some sense, especially those 2 tall fellows in the back, Drew Boo and producer Flip, who you've probably heard about on the show already, and you'll be hearing more of because he gave me a great note on Henry Parrish and the whole Ulysses Bentley discussion, which I've gotten some good information on that we're going to talk about. But I went to Disney World, so no, I didn't chicken out. No one's scared of a YouTube comment section, brother. And I'm not afraid of any coach or player thinking I said something mean. I just wasn't here. And I was going to I carried my camera up there. I was going to do a show after we got back from the park. We just did 2 days. 2 days, all 4 parks, for my friend Chip's 40th birthday. Happy birthday, Chip. Lovely time, soul cleansing in a lot of ways, but soul cleansing also because I got to deal with that LSU loss and really consider that LSU loss without reacting emotionally. Because after that game on Saturday, everybody with my crew that gave a shit or was paying attention to Ole Miss LSU were feeling just like you were that night. Just like you're probably still feeling today. Producer Flip was beside himself, but he was more pragmatic about it, why it happened, what went wrong. Drew Boo, man, he was ready to take somebody's head off. And Brocky Nosaki He just is sick and tired of Ole Miss letting him down. So how did we get here? What comes next? What is the two-loss approach for Ole Miss football? Again, one of LSU, Alabama or Tennessee is going to have 2 losses on Sunday. So everybody's going to be grouped in the same grouping. But Ole Miss just made things so hard on itself. Not to mention that Kentucky loss egregious enough in its inexplicable nature. And then Kentucky goes and loses to Vanderbilt just to put the nice cherry on top of that dung beetle sundae. But what does Ole Miss do now? Where does Ole Miss go? What does this bye week mean for them? Well, one, Lane Kiffin spoke to the media on Monday. I wasn't there. I was driving home. We didn't make it all the way. Had to spend the night to me and Honey. And Warner Robins, Georgia rules. I'd never been there before, but if any listeners from Warner Robins, you got a new fan in Ben Garrett. That place ruled. We stopped there. Got in late today, but yesterday Lane Kiffin spoke to the media. And a few things that jumped out to me. One, there's going to be a shakeup along that offensive line.
Is there a message today with the team?
Yeah. We were just in here not long ago. And, I just made sure that they understood what was going on and, look at the whole season together. But, and how close they are to being undefeated. And I know a lot of people can say that because, if we would have just won this game or this game, but very rarely are games down to the last play like both ours have been. And very rarely, we've been ahead by 4 points in both of them with the ball. And a chance to go make them 2 scores and put the games away and didn't do it. On the other side, it's strange that both games, I think, both have a 4th and 6 at the end of the game on the -19. That had there been a minute more, they probably would have punted, but they realized the possessions are limited because both games are about the 2 to 3 minute mark at that point. And both teams go for it and we don't stop them on the -19 or, we're undefeated. So I just told them there's a lot of plays within the game and that we usually make, and I would have coached better, done different things, and there's plays that and there's a bunch that stick out. But how often does get one of our fastest guys? I'm not pointing blame on him at all. I'm just saying that play, and it's a play of a lifetime. It should be one of the. I know LSU's got a lot of wins in that stadium, but that should be a famous play. Nussmeier makes an unbelievable play. It's 3rd and 10. It's going to 4th and 24. It's going to be 4th and 24. That game's probably over. And he somehow gets away from him and throws the ball back across the body, makes an unbelievable play. Or the game's probably over. So I say that so that when you ask about changes and why we don't overreact because of all that. So, and I encourage our fans. To, stick together. Again, we're talking about one play game, or else saying what a great win and a hard place to play, and place we hadn't won in 16 years. I think they said hadn't won at night in 23 years. These kids weren't even alive last time there, so that kind of shows you that's been a hard place for Ole Miss to play, and we were ahead the whole game and one play away from closing it out. So a lot left to play for. It's a really good. Told them you're a really good team. We're just not finishing like a great team would, or we're undefeated right now.
Last night, you mentioned blocking being something that's been a little bit of an issue. Is that something that can be fixed or improved halfway through a season significantly?
You say blocking?
Yes.
Sure it is. Everything can be worked on and improved. And like I said, in the bye, we look at all things, and we've definitely already started looking up front. Now, up front, some of that's injury-based too, because we've had 2 returning starters have been out for a few weeks, and so that hasn't necessarily allowed us to, make moves that we may have made otherwise. So I think there'll be some changes there.
Here's what I know about Jaden Williams. It's not an ACL tear. And Chuck Ronsville, my buddy, my publisher at the Ole Miss Spirit, OleMissSpirit.com, he is reporting that he was even doing squats this week in workouts. That is an encouraging sign because Ole Miss absolutely desperately needs him. He is the only good pass blocking lineman outside of Nate Kalepo. You want to know why it was so bad offensively? The play calling, yes. Charlie Weiss will get there. That offensive line got absolutely manhandled again. And it really frustrated me most because Ole Miss didn't try anything else, which takes me to the Ulysses Bentley issue. And Jaden Williams, he's expected back, potentially. Jeremy James expected back sooner than Jaden Williams. Both of those guys I expect to step in and start. Caleb Warren came in, and he was the second highest pass blocking grade of all Ole Miss Rebels against LSU. And this is a multi-year starter at center that is now finally getting to play. And they need him at center because poor Reese McIntyre, again, his pass grade was bad. Pass block grade was so bad. And Ole Miss is only going to throw the ball and not give Ulysses Bentley, the highest grade returning running back in the SEC, the ball 20, or at least give him 25 touches a game. We could see more of this. So Jeremy James, Caleb Warren, all of these guys, getting them back, getting them incorporated into that offensive line that desperately needs them, that stuck out to me on Monday. Another thing that stuck out to me on Monday is I think Lane Kiffin's about to take over some things offensively. But don't get all excited about that because I have my concerns. Specifically going into overtime against LSU, Lane did take over the play calling, and they went backwards. And Caden Davis had to kick a 57-yarder just to keep the thing afloat. It didn't matter. I don't care that Kyron Lacey pushed off. That's twice now that you can make that excuse. It should have never, that LSU game, never come down to one play. If you do the math and all of the points left on the field, 45-16 should have been the final. If you don't believe me, ask producer Flip. He did the math on a spreadsheet. That's how nerdy he got with it. This stuff, everything that Ole Miss is dealing with, you got Key Lawrence preserving his red shirt. He's gone. I told you after Kentucky, if they lose to South Carolina, man, the opt-out question is going to be the biggest one. Well, now we got to look at that. But again, they're 5-2. And they will make the playoff if they win out. But how can you expect this team right now to win out when the offense is the problem and not the defense? And offense is Lane Kiffin's thing. So Lane Kiffin says on Monday, or hints at that he's going to be taking over more of the play calling or changing things up offensively. Good. I hope it works. I have my doubts. I watched overtime against LSU. And y'all went backwards, and it was the same ugliness, the same missing the middle of the field. Caden Prescorn, I hear he and Jackson Dart just aren't seeing eye to eye right now. That's concerning. That makes a lot of sense then. He's not looking for him. He obviously didn't when Caden was wide open. No defender 30 yards in his general vicinity in late in the fourth quarter against LSU for a walk-in touchdown that seals it, and you force a throw for an interception. The one thing you cannot do. But that's about it as far as what stuck out to me with Lane Kiffin's Monday press conference. Yeah, he came back in and said, I'm glad we changed the expectation here. And he talked about the one play, just one play here and there, and they'd have been undefeated. It should have never, Lane, either of Kentucky or LSU, come down to one play. That's the point you're missing. Secondly, you're absolutely right. Things have changed. And just like you bitched and complained forever about that attendance stuff, now Ole Miss fans who have been lining your roster with their own hard-earned dollars behind these players, they want to know what's going on. They want to know how you're going to fix this. And frankly, they're over the goofiness. It's all fun and games until you start losing games. He did it again, another reel of a Gator. He knows what he's doing. My friends, my travel group in the Hose on South Lamar, tip my hat to them, all said the same thing. Why does he do that? And then he goes lose to LSU. He just needs to hush. They're right. You're right to feel that way. Enough people got frustrated before Kentucky, or maybe it was after Kentucky, before South Carolina, when he did the exact same thing, and fans came to defend him in YouTube's comment sections or Twitter spaces and mentions, or my message board at the Ole Miss Spirit, OleMissSpirit.com, affiliate on 3. They said, that's who he is. He knows what he's doing, but he's just doing it to troll Florida. Leave Lane alone. Let Lane be Lane, because when Lane's Lane, look what happens. It's the third most wins in the SEC since 2020. True. The best modern era run of winning for Ole Miss. True. But a lot of that has to do with how much money you, the Ole Miss fan, have given to this program. So, yeah, Lane, things have changed. And if you want to go to Florida, go to Florida. If you don't, chill with these memes. They're not cute right now. These reels of these gators floating in water, knowing exactly what you're doing. You can excuse it away as, oh, they're in the swamp. It's Baton Rouge. No, you did the same thing before Kentucky or South Carolina, whenever it was. But my point to my friends on that trip, which I'm so glad I took, even though I didn't get to be here on the post-game show right after it, and somebody called me chicken shit on our YouTube section. It doesn't matter if you go to Florida anymore. It doesn't matter. Because this is the best defense I know I have seen from Ole Miss in my 38 years of existence. I think Ole Miss has on its coaching staff roster, it's Kirby Smart in Pete Golding. I think that Kirby Smart of Ole Miss, Pete Golding, if he were promoted because you just decided you were done with it all and wanted to go to Florida for a fresh start, I believe Pete Golding would go hire one of these coaches that are 5-8 in their last 13, like a Lincoln Riley or Hugh Freeze or whoever it might be that's a good offensive mind to kick ass as an offensive coordinator. Meanwhile, you hired your friend, and I like Charlie Weiss a lot. This is not personal at all. Same with Lane. I like these guys, but we're talking about business because you changed the culture. Thank you for doing so. Because now we can talk about it for what it is. This isn't all everybody in it together. Man, y'all are wearing our script. That's why people are so mad today. You don't have the same allegiance to this place as all of those who've given their hard-earned money to your program have. It means something to them, everything to them, and they feel it viscerally. And I'm glad you hear the anger and feel it, but you really need to understand what you're unpacking here. Ole Miss has long been a sleeping giant. And there are going to be people who snicker about this, like Brandon Walker, that poor slob up there at Barstool, that only cheers really for the Ole Miss's opponent that week because State sucks so bad. Had to build their entire program now as Ole Miss Dollar General Light. You changed it. For all the better things, you should be immortalized forever in Ole Miss lore because of it. Heck, they could call it Lane Kiffin Field if you stayed here for another 10 years and won like this, but this year was the year of the title run. I was sitting in a room when you didn't bat an eye after Jared Ivey, one of your leaders on defense, for the best defense I've seen in 38 years, the best Ole Miss defense I've seen in 38 years, said the goal is to win a natty. You didn't go, wait, hold up. Like a Nick Saban would have done, saying, well, it's about the process going 1-0 every week. You just said, yep. Y'all played up the last dance stuff. Jackson Dart has totally leaned into the star turn. He's loved being on SportsCenter. And then when you went to Baton Rouge, like many an Ole Miss team has done before, you pissed right down your leg. Bo Wallace has had to live with that interception, even though it's Hugh Freeze's fault a long time ago. But also, Bo will acknowledge it. He had Laquan open in the flat. So, same deal with both Lane and Jackson Dart. Sure, Lane, you're right. You're telling the truth that your two losses only were by a play or so. You didn't make those plays. And two, it shouldn't have come down to that to begin with. But now Bo will even tell you that interception that haunted him, he should have thrown it into the flat. He played a little hero ball. Jackson Dart, will you say the same thing? Will you make amends, whatever is keeping you and Caden Priestcorn from connecting because he's wide open? These are questions that have to be asked to you now. It's all fun and games when you're winning. I know you wanted to think that, well, Ole Miss, we just give them 10 wins. They're going to celebrate us forever. You were right until you told us not to think that way. To go all in. How championship caliber programs are built. The attendance and everything in between, including the number 6 NIL in the country, according to my company. You can't see it, but on 3. Number 6, not Texas A&M, not Florida that desperately wants the Lane Kiffin experience, not Mississippi State, which wanted it desperately but can't afford them, so they had to go shop at Dollar General and get Jeff Levy. Ole Miss. So understanding their anger, I appreciate you recognizing it, but truly understanding it is important. It should inform your decisions this week. Whether or not you make wholesale changes on an offensive line that only one offensive lineman against LSU graded in the 70s in pass block win rate. Are you kidding me? You didn't even change anything up. It was the same 5 the whole time. John Garrison, I now ask you, is he on the hot seat? Because you won't let us talk to John Garrison. If I ask you that, you'll say, we evaluate everything. The questions are being asked. I'm asking you to give real answers to your fans, or don't. We're not owed that. No one's owed that. Whatever you think of me, whether you think of me as a sports reporter, a fan, a homer, an idiot, all things valid. But my buddy Austin Brown sent me this, the Donald Trump voice from a couple of shows back. And he made a really good point. I've seen it on my message board. You got to stop giving NIL. No. That's cutting off your nose to spite your face. I know you feel like you're owed something, an explanation. That's what we're going to try to find out. But we all aren't. None of us are. And Lane knows that. That's why he won't answer these questions. You ask for the tough questions. If you listen to any of the press conferences, they're asked. I've sent some to Jake Thompson, my guy on the ground specifically, and heard it verbatim. I don't have any problem holding anyone to account. They're people. And what's the worst that could happen to me? I lose this gig? Fine. I'll go preach. I got to stop using all those 4-letter words, though. Not giving to NIL, not going and getting a Jared Ivey, not paying a $9 million, not having the number 6 on 3 NIL collective in the country, not Texas A&M, not Tennessee. I think Tennessee's ahead of Ole Miss, so sorry, Auburn. Your offensive line coach doesn't seem to be doing a good job. And if this is strictly business, pro mindset, if this is strictly business, do you need to make a change? And I'm not just talking about shifting around some bodies up front. I'm talking about promoting a Joe Judge, one of your analysts. Or are all these analysts you brought in, including Zach Arnett, are you really utilizing them, or did you use them as Twitter or social media props, fodder? What are they contributing? Joe Judge told you to start Jerquan Scott at center. You have played Reese McIntyre every single game, and he has not graded out well. Pro mindset, just business. I'm holding you, the CEO, to account. I don't pretend to be an expert. I'm an Ole Miss guy. That's all I am. Call me whatever you want, a homer, a journalist. I'm not a journalist. Sports writer, sports fun guy. Cartoon character on your YouTube TV. Ginger Shrek. One thing I am not is beholden to anything other than I've always loved Ole Miss. Of course I have. I've been around Ole Miss my entire life. But you can be honest if you're not. I mean, it's biblical. Speak wisdom to the wise. Allow the wise to speak wisdom to you if I don't get tongue-tied. I want to be told things. There was a long time in my life, especially on this here podcast. Ask any of those Ole Miss message boards, be it Ole Miss Spirit, Rebel Grove will tell you. I was insecure, immature. They said one bad thing about me. I got defensive. I'd call Neil or Chase or Chuck. Why are they doing this? Own your shit. That's all I'm saying. Own it. Jackson, you have totally hit a wall. And obviously something's going on. Whether this rumor mill stuff about a tiff with you and him is true, something ain't working. It ain't personal. Fix it. Own your shit. I had to learn that the very, very hard way. The worst that could happen for me, to being honest, is I lose this job. But trust me, apparently I can't do anything to lose this job. Look at this stupid face. We aren't owed an explanation. What we are owed is a win over LSU, which has a bad defense. What we are owed is a win over Kentucky that lost to friggin' Vanderbilt. And I know Vandy went and beat Alabama, and anybody can beat anybody this year, but this Ole Miss group has one of the very best, top graded, all 22s in the entire country. I'm not making that up. It's backed by analytics. I'm just trying to speak truth to it as I sip a Dos Equis. And also, I've been in Disney World. Look at these people again. Wonderful. And producer Flip made a good point. He sent it to me today as I was on my ride home. In 3 SEC games, Henry Parrish, your boy Lane, this is not a Kevin Smith thing. You were upset that Ulysses Bentley reported 25 pounds overweight in the summer. You made it personal. And you took it out on him. And he tried to do all things right. And look what happened when you finally played him. Henry Parrish had 7 runs in 3 SEC games that went for 8 yards or more. Ulysses Bentley, the highest graded returning running back in the SEC coming into the year, had 6 runs of 8 or more in his 11 carries against LSU. You said it was performance-based, pro mindset. Or do you have your guys? Caleb Warren has started for 3 years at center and is pretty darn good. Certainly graded out better than Reese McIntyre has. And I'm not trying to rag on the guy. It's just been tough for him. Hell of a story, and man, I salute you. Preston Cushman was supposedly the next big thing at tackle. And you went and signed transfers over him that haven't performed, but you don't even give him a shot. You don't try that either. You don't really give any of them a true look. It's like you have not an all 22, you have an all 30, and that is the 30. Juice Wells has been bad. Drops have been an issue. Like Juice Wells, buddy, I know you're calling for targets and you're yelling and bitching on the sideline about it. But friend, you're dropping them. So again, Jackson, Caden's wide open, or just find Trey somewhere down there. So Juice, what happens with him if they lose another one? They're staring 9-3 in the face. You think they can get through Georgia, Texas A&M? Just pick a team. Pick a team on this schedule outside of State. But of course, State, that would be a perfect We Are Ole Miss capper in what is rolling out into one of the most, if not the, We Are Ole Miss seasons of We Are Ole Miss seasons. And you did it. You did it. We didn't do it. Yeah, they're passionate. And you're absolutely right. You're only a player or two away from being undefeated. Why were you only a player or two away from beating the crap out of these teams? Producer Flip, who just gave me that great stat on Henry Parrish and Ulysses Bentley, did the math. 46 to, I think it was 46. I probably already screwed it up. 45 to 16? Philip will call me. 45 to 16 should have been the final score if you count all points, taking away the middle 8, all these things. Now, I don't pretend to know how to scheme open anybody. But if somebody explains the math to me, I mean, I can do a little math. I was a B student. C's get degrees. You're not serving as a good CEO. In fact, you're performing well below expectations. What happens then in a pro mindset workplace environment?
Protecting homes and businesses from the whims of nature, you need more than just quality materials. You require RiverLand Roofing. Licensed, insured, and certified, RiverLand Roofing offers not only the assurance of excellence, but a tailored approach to your unique structural needs and budget. To learn more about what RiverLand Roofing can do for you and the community, call them at 662-644-4297 or visit riverlandroofing.com.
We don't treat cancer, or design breathtaking buildings, or slow cook the town's most talked about barbecue. That's all you. You're the ones who create and astonish, game and laugh, who come together and imagine a safer, more connected world. The things you do inspire us every day, so much so, it's right there in our name. Customer inspired. C-Spire. Inspired by you.
You, the Ole Miss CEO, as you step into our, let's call it a business meeting, just to get acquainted meeting, see where things are kind of meeting. You're performing well below expectations. What are you going to do to fix it? Do you just have your guys? Why did you sit Ulysses Bentley? Don't be cute about it. Why? We've asked you. Why? Aiden Williams, where has he been? Juice Wells, he isn't performing. Then give me the 4-star from Ridgeland, the Mississippi kid. And there are a lot of Mississippi givers to your number 6 in the country NIL. What are we learning? What are we going to do to fix it? What are you doing? You're the CEO of your pro mindset team. This is not personal. We love you, man. I mean, even Neil McCready, who will swear by the journalism code, and I love him for it. You got to like Lane. Neil likes Lane. Of course he does. He's fun. He's awesome. This isn't personal, purely business. Then, you want to flirt with Florida? I know one thing for sure. You're not helping with public sentiment and shareholder kind of mood or morale when you do that stuff. Well, I'm really considering Florida. Fine. Go. I think Pete Golding has the opportunity to be Ole Miss's Kirby Smart. Actually, at the end of the year, we would have to question if Ole Miss is truly getting its bang for its buck. With you as the CEO and not him, when he would go hire maybe a Lincoln Riley, however fantastical it might seem, he might go, or no, he won't might. He will go pursue the very best offensive coordinator he can find to go win a title for Ole Miss where he's staying. And I'm not going to get into all of that, but Pete's staying here, man. And he really cares, like Ole Miss fans care. They've shown it with their money, but they've really shown it with their passion and energy and emotion with the way they packed out your stadiums. Those 4 non-con games to start the year, those pathetic cupcakes. Lane, that you knew you shouldn't have played, but you're hoping, well, we'll just get through it, get those 4 out of the way. It didn't prepare you at all for the SEC. Thank God your shareholders understand that this SEC is wide open, as you understand it. It's wide open. Woo, good thing, because we are not the elite of elite, but we're paying to be that. Yes, Alabama Alabama or Tennessee will have a second loss come Sunday. We're on a bye. Everything will be as it is. Still a great shot for the college football playoff. But wait a second. Wait. We're talking about cost efficiency. Return on investment here. I am not a businessman. That was my dad and that whole restaurant side of the fam. Shout out McAllister's Delis. Nukes. The shareholders here just have a simple question. What are you doing to fix this? It's not personal. We like Pete. Pete might give us a better return on that investment, right? Might give us a better bang for our buck if he goes and gets one of those kind of guys. Even maybe Hugh Freeze, who went on his redemption tour. And it's not working out for him at Auburn right now. But I think Ole Miss fans would fully embrace like an OC, Hugh Freeze under Pete Golding. That sounds more of a winning championship combo than your friend Charlie, who has never had a top 30 offense outside of when he got under you here and at FAU. Outside of you, independent of you, it's been ugly. It's not personal. Charlie's one of the nicest dudes. Put his hands out in front of me. When the first time he ever met me, I acted like I knew him. I can be a lot. I'm a lot right now. Extended my hand to him like, hey, man. He acted like he knew me, but it was just warm. He's like, oh, you're Ben. Like he knew me as a friend. Probably just seen me, on Twitter. He's got an amazing mind, and he's got a great personality. But by the numbers, it just hadn't been there. It's time to own it. It's time to own it, and that includes me. I said this was the number 3 team in the country after I think Wake Forest. They are not. They aren't. I was wrong. I own it. It's time to own it. Let us know, and let's win out, okay? This has been Talk of Champions. I'm Ben Garrett in the RiverLand Roofing Studios, omspirit.com. Sign up today. Code 50 for 50% off a subscription. That's omspirit.com and affiliate of On 3. Love On 3, man. They've been good to me. Shout out to my Disney crew. That was great. Happy birthday, Chip. Soul cleansing in a lot of ways. If you tuned in to this and stayed through it all, God bless you, man, because I am an idiot. I ramble. I know I talk too much. That's why I just started talking to just the camera. Whoever wanted to hear it could hear it. When I had Zach on, I talked all over him. Y'all were right. Next time I have a guest on, I will ask and listen. But the Ole Miss Spirit, omspirit.com, RiverLand Roofing, RiverLandRoofing.com for all of your roofing needs. It's RiverLand Roofing, 662-644-4297. I am tired, but I will see you Thursday. Let's puke and rally, right? Puke and rally the Ole Miss way. It's a rallying cry. Come back after next week. Beat up on Oklahoma, win out, get in the college football playoff, and then if you're in the tournament, as Andy Kennedy used to say, just got to get in the tournament. If you're in the tournament, you got a chance. Cool heads have prevailed. We're calming down. We understand we still got a shot at this thing, but also enough. Just get it done. It ain't personal. Pro mindset, hotty-toddy, whatever. God bless. Take care. Be good to each other. I'm out. I'm so tired. Hey, hoes at South Lamar, you're the best.